one of them is me.
Oh my god. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the SVT podcast. We didn't announce who was gonna take lead, and I feel like I haven't done it in a while. So you know what?
Yeah,
I'll just
yeah.
jump
You
in.
go ahead and tap in. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
let's jump in the deep end there. We are looking all nice and beautiful with our Sharks hat here,
All tealed
all
out.
all different flavors. How you guys doing?
Good. How are you guys?
You see that lottery? The draft lottery for the Sharks. I'm doing great, man. That's how I'm doing.
We'll get in that and so much more. We've got some football to cover here. Some people got paid. We've also got some basketball playoff news, and then obviously we're going to spend some time here shitting on the best person to shit on ever, which is John Fisher. So without further ado, let's just get right into this. Looks like you got some notes here, Vince. Tell me who got paid.
All right. So Jared Goff and the Detroit Lions earlier today agreed to a 4-year, $212 million contract extension. So yeah, the Lions have said, they've talked the talk about Jared as our guy, and now they're walking the walk. So if the Lions are going to win a Super Bowl anytime soon, Jared Goff is going to be the one to do it. He came close with the Rams before, and we'll see if he can get over the hump in the next 4 years or so.
Marin's finest. Um, Looks
Right.
like schedules are released on Wednesday, but I
Yeah.
got my schedule leaked for the Eagles already.
Well, we know the teams. We just don't know what order officially the games are going to fall.
Got it.
Is what it is. So we already know who everybody's
Yeah.
playing. That's kind of set in stone. There's a rotation that happens. That's not a surprise. It's just who's like winning the schedule. Are you guys playing? Are the Eagles playing the Cowboys in weeks 5 and 17, or are they playing in like weeks 8 and 11? Like that's the surprise. That's what's coming. And they did announce already that the Chiefs will be hosting the Ravens for the Thursday night season opener game on September 5th, and that's at 5:20. So they'll kick off the season. I believe that's what they call it, the kickoff game or whatever.
I think the Eagles are shortly after. If I'm not mistaken, I think
Oh,
it's
right, because they're playing like the day after in
in
Brazil.
Brazil because
Yeah.
it's going to be Sunday. I think it's a Saturday game. I don't know. I have to check and see it again, but I think the Eagles fall shortly after that when they play in Brazil. So that should be fun. Bring the football to the masses and the odd shaped football, not the round shaped football.
The oblong, yeah.
Yeah,
And
man. I just Jared Goff. I'm happy for him. It kind of seemed a weird trade that they did between the Rams, for the quarterback to quarterback.
hmm And
Kind
then
of
some
didn't
picks
really.
thrown in as well. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm happy to see you got that extension. Some people are a little skeptical about it that I've talked to as far as once this was announced that they were just kind of wondering, is that a little bit too much given the age and everything of that nature and what Detroit's trying to accomplish? Is that too much money? But I think it's just in line. I mean, he was on the door front of getting you to a Super Bowl. Just brakes fell off there when they were playing the 49ers, so not much you
Yep.
can do about that. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, happy for him. Good, 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 good. Everyone, like we always say, get your bag because it could always end tomorrow. So
That's
get as
right.
much as you can. So
And obviously the NFL is not guaranteed money either. So this $212 million contract, I'd be astonished if he gets all of it, even if he does play all 4 years and plays well. Even so, it'll probably be under 200. This is just the number that the agent puts out there, where he can like go brag to everybody else and be like, see, look what I did for my boy Jared.
my boy Blue. um, I don't have anything else about NFL. I don't know if anybody's in the chat's in yet. I think people are still trying
Well,
to.
no, we got Mike in
We
the
got
chat.
Mike in here. What's up,
Yeah.
Mike? So Mike said had a big lunch, so I'm ready for the dumping on the. Ooh, the
John
fucking
fucking
Fisher.
Fisher.
I like
yeah.
the JFF. That's
Yeah.
a
Take
good
a
one.
dump.
I like that one.
Tim,
We'll
we need
get
a
there.
graphic of just like, a dump truck of poop just dumping on John Fisher. Every time we get a fuck John Fisher, it's just a dump truck of poop.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put our guy on blast here. He just you guys can't see him, and then that's okay. He just stood up and pretended to take a shit on the screen, so it was great. Love it.
Anywho.
Anyway, so let's get back here. Speaking of things dropping here,
Let's get this
playoff
dump truck back
basketball,
on the
man.
rails.
Playoff basketball. People dropping dimes and dropping dunks here, and how are we doing on the playoff update here, Vince? So we get a graphic up on our screen.
So we are in the conference semifinals now at this point. Right now, actually, as we speak, the Celtics and Cleveland Cavaliers are playing, and the Celtics are up 5 right now in the middle of the third quarter. They're up 2-1 on Cleveland, so this is a pretty important game. If Cleveland can pull through and come back and get the win, then we're looking at a tied series. And if they don't, then obviously Boston is in control, and 1 foot out the door onto the conference finals. In the Western Conference later tonight, we got Oklahoma City and Dallas playing. Dallas is up 2-1 on OKC. So the 1 seed, Oklahoma City, needs to get their act together if they want to make this interesting. The other half of the brackets, Timberwolves and Denver Nuggets, they're tied
I'm
2 games
loving that
apiece.
series, man.
That series is so fun.
Yeah.
Oh man,
I'm so glad I'm not a fan of either team, but
yeah.
I do want to say this. If I'm gonna pick a team, obviously the Warriors aren't in it. If I'm gonna pick a team, I want the Timberwolves to win it for one reason only. It's because they have Mike Conley, and God, I just want that boy to get one. Just get one, man. He's just always kind of been in the forefront of, All Stars because he was, in the West where all the point guards were at. Was on crap teams, for years and years. So I just want him to get one. Man. I'm super happy to see that. Although they got to fucking turn it around here. I mean, Denver, tied this series up here. So
yeah, with MVP Nikola Jokic, we'll get into that in just a hot second. But the other half of the bracket, Pacers and Knicks are 2 games apiece, and both of those series are going to tip off again tomorrow. Game 5 winners in the pole position to move on to the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference Finals, respectively. So this is just a lot of fun right now. This is probably the best time to get maximum basketball from really good teams. Obviously, they're all in the second round of the playoffs. You have 2 games every night, and every single one of them is competitive games. Whether or not the final score indicates, if the Celtics end up winning and go up 3-1, this series has still been pretty competitive anyway. So it's just good basketball all around. It's the same thing with in the NFL. It's the division round, right? Because you have Saturday and Sunday, the best teams are playing, and it's all day. So it's a similar type feeling there.
Tim, go ahead and throw up the next graphic here about the MVP here, since we're going to touch base on this. Nikola Jokic has won his 3rd MVP. I think he's the 4th player in NBA history, I believe, to have 3 MVPs in a career. So shout out to him. I know some people were kind of wondering if it was going to be Shea Gillis, if it was going to be Luka, if it was going to be who's the other kid I'm thinking of? Anyways, there's a 3rd kid in the conversation, and honestly, I think Jokic just gives you something that we've never really seen out of a big man in this capacity. I mean, he literally can drop 30 if he wants to. He could have 20 rebounds if he wants to. He could have 15 assists whenever he wants to. It's just a unique, dynamic player that we haven't really seen at that size, and he does not look athletic at all, but I promise you he's super athletic. So happy for him.
Nikola Jokic, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, basketball is just something he does when he's not tending to his horses on his
exactly.
farm. That guy, he is a different breed,
exactly.
to be sure. And it's kind of odd. The man doesn't love basketball. I don't think. He has other interests and he's this dominant when he's on the court, and it's just it. Oddly enough, the person that comes to mind is Sebastian Janikowski because football is something he does when the bars are closed. That's what we used to joke about. It's kind of the similar thing, right? Like he has a lot of other interests outside of basketball, and you can tell in the interviews he doesn't he's not afraid to espouse those other interests,
Yeah.
like housing horses at like racetracks in New Jersey or some shit like that, man.
Was it like he was like heartbroken when like was that him or Giannis or something? Like he was heartbroken when he couldn't play like soccer or something anymore.
Oh,
Like I want to say like I want
I think that was Giannis. I think
I
to
think
Giannis.
be honest,
was-
like he was heartbroken that he couldn't play soccer. Like actually, soccer is his number one love or something.
Yeah. I want to say that was Giannis. I think him and his brothers played, and I think he just became too tall, and it just didn't really
soccer's
pan out.
it's kind of tough when you're like really super tall. Yeah, you just it's a different beast. It's a different kind of athlete.
Can you imagine him being the goalie though? I mean, his hands alone.
Yeah, I mean, there've been big goaltenders in soccer, and there have been tall strikers as well. So
Yeah.
I mean, but any other position that'd be kind of rough. So if you don't got the foot handles, or if you're not strong with your hands, or in positioning or whatever, so that's a little tougher for tall people to play
Yeah.
soccer. I believe so.
Yeah. It looks like we also had ourselves the lottery draft here, and that's the graphic for NHL. So, anyways, Atlanta secures the #1 pick in the NBA draft. It is the first time in the modern draft era that Atlanta has gotten a #1 draft pick. So, shout out to them. I don't know who they're going to pick. It seems like there's these two French kids that are studs that are probably going to be drafted here.
It sounds like there's no 1A prospect. There's no like clear
Yeah,
front runner
it just
for
seems
number
like
one.
nobody. This is a terrible year to have the #1 overall draft. At least on like, if you wanted to trade or, I'm sure there's plenty of good players going to come out of the draft. But as far as a clear cut #1, it's not really clear cut right now.
Yeah, it seems to be these two French kids. You got the big man from, I believe it was UConn. He's pretty up there. But yeah, also too, I know we didn't really have it in the docket here, but there's just going to be fanfare about it no matter what. But Bronny had his tryouts today, and everyone's just the media's can't get enough of it. He didn't miss a single shot apparently in his training drills that he had today. He's doing everything he can to rise his stock. GMs are coming out and saying that he was playing out of position, and that's why he didn't look so good at USC. Sure. I just don't think that he is a top echelon of an NBA player compared to other talent that's coming into the league. To say he's not a good player, well, I think that's a bit of a stretch. I think he's a good player.
You think he goes in the first round?
No. Look, he may go in like the second round only because of sheer name and sheer media. And if
Cleveland's gonna take him in like their
and his draft stock might be coming up, going up because of this whole combine stuff that he's got going on. But in reality, third round, if he went undrafted, that wouldn't shock me.
I mean, there's only
either.
2 rounds in the NBA draft, so
Right.
I'm telling you who the Warriors need a target. Center, Jonathan Mogbo, USF. He'll be a star. We need a big man.
I do think they need a big man. I think oh gosh, the guy from Vucevic, he's supposed to be a free agent from Chicago. So I would circle that as a big man talent that I would want to acquire. I mean, he could pass, he could shoot the deep ball. He might be just what the Warriors are asking for as far as a big man goes. Who knows? But yeah, we'll see. Season's around the corner here, anyways. We got to get through the draft first.
The Warriors have a draft pick or a first round draft pick.
right.
Yeah,
That was sent
unfortunately.
to Portland, right?
So
Where that
Portland
ended
had
up?
to get a top 4 draft pick because it was unprotected, and unfortunately they didn't. So Portland now has, I believe, the 6th pick and the 14th pick, which would have belonged to the Warriors if they had gotten a top 4 pick. So,
Right.
It is what it is. It's fine.
Yep. Yep. Not the end of the world. But here we go. Free agency is just around the corner, and who's not under contract? It's our boy Klay Thompson.
Right,
Is he going to Orlando?
Yeah, there's rumors of mutual
Whispers.
interest. Mutual interest.
Yeah, I mean, look, I've. It's so hard, man. I love Clay to death. I think he's one of my favorite
He's a
players.
statue. He's a statue
Yeah,
guy.
he's definitely a statue. If not, he's a trio statue of one statue there. So, I would just say, if the money's there and they want him, I think he could be kind of that Kyle Korver type of situation. Maybe even a Ray Allen if you can be that more consistent with his 3-point shot where he doesn't really have to do so much. And I think Orlando's not a terrible place. I mean, if you think about it, Paulo Banchero's been coming out really good. They got Jalen Suggs that's being really good. They've got that young center over there that's pretty good. So they're just young talent. They maybe lack a little bit as far as locker room presence of veterans. So maybe Clay is that veteran to them. Who knows? I think Orlando's not a terrible place to be. I mean, they did go to the playoffs. Yes, did they leave in the first round and lost to Cleveland? Sure. But it's a positive outlook if you're an Magic fan, I would say.
I just think like even if he went to Orlando, he's not. It's hard for me to imagine that Clay is going to get starter minutes and starter money, especially when you look at these teams that are in the playoffs right now. They are so athletic,
Yeah,
extremely athletic and fast. Like you can say maybe Denver is the least athletic, just because of the Jokic angle, right? But he's still a hell of an athlete. To do what he does. But
yeah.
I mean, just look at the teams in the NBA that are left surviving. Like, I don't know if Clay could get up and down the court, take out the top two offensive weapons, him being on defense. We used to be able to see Clay take the number one, number two offensive option out of a game, and play great defense. He can't do that anymore. New York Knicks, Dante DiVincenzo. I mean, we talked about it a little bit last week with Vince. Can you imagine if those minutes were with the Warriors, Dante? Like, are the Warriors better or worse? Taking the emotion out of it. What's best for the Warriors moving forward? Like I don't think you can pay Clay more than $15 million a year. Like,
Yeah.
Fantasy money at this point. It's not my money. Not trying to negotiate and say take money away from Clay. But what's best for the team and what's the best route to win? It's probably if you're coming back, Clay, you're coming off the bench, which means we're giving you bench player minutes, pay. It's sad. But we knew this day would come that the big three and the Warriors dynasty would come to an end. So,
yeah, and that's why I come at it as a Kyle Korver situation.
Yeah.
Where like Kyle Korver maybe wasn't always the greatest defensively, probably ever, but had a shot and he came off the bench as a sixth man.
Clay would be number 2 right now. He'd be approaching number 2 in all-time threes right now if he wasn't robbed.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, he got robbed of two and a half years.
Almost prime seasons
Yeah.
as well. Right in the middle of his prime. That's
I will say this too that if Clay were to go to Orlando, I don't know if I want Clay back to the Warriors, and I'd say this as like not to be a dig at Clay. Like I want, if Clay comes back, great. I'm not going to be opposed to it, but this just forces Steve Kerr to have to play the younger guys. They have to get more minutes. So Moody isn't going to have this tumultuous season of am I going to play tomorrow? Am I going to play 20 minutes to next week? Like I don't know. Probably Moody is the one most deserving of consistent minutes.
I'm so glad you brought this up because it seems like Warriors fans who watch basketball, the consensus like about the one player that should be getting time is Moody.
Yeah,
like
100%.
You can go to the fandom and it's split on Kaminga. You don't know. You got people saying he's a guaranteed superstar. You got people you don't know. You know what I mean? There's an argument, but the unifying thing is everybody loves Steph Curry, and Moody needs more minutes.
Yeah, yeah.
Why doesn't Moody have a role? Like, that to me has been the strangest thing with this Warriors. With before, last year, 2 years ago when he was a rookie, he's entering his 4th year now. He's done everything possible to show that he's competent, to show that he's reliable. I mean, Jesus, every time he comes into the game, he's playing great defense. He's already a better defensive option than Clay.
Yeah.
If you just gave him those minutes, he's already a better defender.
That lineup. I mean, I know the next thing on our docket is talk about him, but I mean, Kuminga is 21 years old, right? About to be 22 this year, so he's getting closer to a prime age. And I know there's talks about trading JK. Absolutely not. Do not do that. I mean, your future is Steph Curry for now. Maybe it could be Pozinski at that point guard position, right? He doesn't have to be the lights out shooter that Curry is, but he can get everybody else involved, right? And you're looking at Kuminga, you're looking at Moody, and then you're looking at TJD, Trace Jackson, at your center position. That's a pretty young lineup. Obviously, there's going to be some tweaks down the road, but I think that needs to be the core lineup going forward, right? It has to be, and I think I didn't say Draymond's name on purpose because I think Draymond and Steph, when that contract's up, I guarantee you they walk into the sunset together. You know what I mean? Maybe Clay doesn't get that opportunity to do it with the other two guys, but I fully believe Steph and Dre, they will walk off the sunset together, and it needs to be those 5 guys taking the mantle going forward. And that's why I think Clay leaving bodes really well for the rest of the team going forward. Like, we can finally move on. Yeah.
I do think, though, like, I know Draymond is playing good basketball right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think spiritually or emotionally, however you want to call it, if I could keep 2 and get rid of 1, I would be saying goodbye to Draymond and keep Clay, even if it cost me money. All 3 of them are going to cost me money. But as far as like a teammate, I'd probably get rid of Draymond, and Draymond was, as you guys know, I love all the players that are the enforcer, that do the dirty work and do all that. That's always my favorite.
The sandpaper guys. Yeah.
Those are the guys that, I wasn't crap when I played sports, but I had to do the mean and dirty work because I wasn't fast. I couldn't jump the highest. So I got under people's skin and I pulled jerseys and, I did all that crap.
Okay, Martin Erat.
I could still shoot a 3 though. I could still shoot.
I think what you're saying is a perfect example of what we have in Pozinski. I mean, in Defensive Player of the Year, granted, obviously there's bigger dudes out there, but he still got a 3rd place vote. He led the league in charges. Like, you've got a dog.
And he's a rookie too.
Yeah, and he was a rookie. And
he's going to get a lot more votes next year.
And I think you're onto something here. That, look, I think what Draymond carries is it's almost like Draymond and Steph is your NBA Jam. If you're going to pick two players,
they traded Jordan Poole, who I'm not defending here as a player, he didn't really have the best year this season, but you traded Jordan Poole, and then you got Chris Paul, which was like, he had some decent games, but it was like a nothing burger for the most part.
Well, I will push back on that one because you traded away the years, is what you did.
You traded away the years, the contract.
Jordan Poole, like, not playing well for 4 more years, or you get what we got from Chris Paul for this year, and then maybe next year. I think he has an opt out to still.
There's talks that he may opt in, he may opt out.
Yeah, exactly. So we're not sure where that goes here.
We don't know where that's going to go yet.
But either way, you're getting out of that money quicker.
Right. You had to take. I mean, I guess you have to take the deal to just get out of the money, but you didn't have to give him the money. Was the problem? Like, you did not have to give Jordan Poole that contract at that time. And as soon as you give him the contract, here comes Draymond. Like,
yeah, I mean, I agree with you where it's a cancerous locker room, and I think the only with Draymond being there, I think it's got better this year though for sure.
Defender of Draymond, but come on, do you think it's going to happen again? Something's going to happen again.
Yeah.
Mike has a quick question on Clay. If Clay is getting long in the tooth, if he did get traded, do you think he'd be, as you could say, an off-the-bench player with most other teams?
Well, he's not going to get traded because he's a free agent. So
Right.
I guess they could do a sign-in trade, I guess. I don't even know if they can do that.
I'm sure they could because the money, though, is the problem.
Right now, Mike, it would be Clay walks, and it's see you later, and the Warriors get nothing in return. Or they bring him back, and I'm thinking he's coming off the bench because you got Moody, Pods, you got young guys that can take his minutes and give you better defense and probably better offense other than shooting. Like, these guys can get to the hoop, they can play defense, they can pass the ball, they can do everything better, possibly even shoot a better three with where he's at right now. I mean, that last game didn't do him any favors, you know.
Yeah, 0 of 12, I think it was something like that.
0 for 12, something like that. You know, it's rough.
Yeah.
And it's hard on fans. You know, like, everybody loves Clay. Everybody has a version of Clay that they love. You know, there's Toaster Clay. There's China Clay.
Yeah.
You know,
architecture nerd Clay.
Yeah. Scaffolding Clay.
Scaffolding Clay. That's what it was.
Clay, you know, boat captain Clay. I mean, there's so many versions of Clay. I've got
that boat captain bobblehead.
You know, I have a personal story of meeting Clay, and it was awkward and silly, but I wouldn't trade that moment for anything with Clay. You know, like, he's been so many Warriors fans' favorite Warrior, and he was robbed his 2 years. He was directly how he's playing like right now is because of those injuries.
Yeah.
You know, but financially, the team has to get below this threshold. I know it's monopoly money, but you can't do any moves. You know,
you can't even sign a veteran minimum player.
Exactly where I'm going. Like, you know, John Fisher owns the A's in a uncapped league. You could spend whatever the hell you want, and you have an owner in Joe Lacob who owns a team in a league that there is a cap, but he pays the penalties. I mean, this roster, how much did he pay? It was like $350 million or something in penalties.
It was a lot. It was a lot.
He's come out and said that they're going to. I mean, also, you know, Mike Dunleavy said the same thing. They're going to get under the threshold this year.
They have to.
There's no choice.
You have to.
Yeah.
You know,
something's got to give. If Clay stays, and I'll ask you. I ask you, if Clay stays, is Kuminga gone?
That's where I was going to go. If Clay stays, I was going to say I don't know if it's Kuminga, but there's going to be a shakeup. I mean, a huge shakeup. I already think something massive is going to happen, because it has to.
Yeah.
Financially, how you're going to fill out the roster, somebody is going. I could see Clay leaving in free agency, but I could see a very big trade that is Draymond, is Jonathan Kuminga. You're going to have to shed money to take on money. I don't know. I mean, I haven't seen any crystal ball theories that make real sense.
Yeah.
Because the Warriors are so up against it.
Yeah.
There's only so many players they can move, just like Phoenix. There's only so many players they can move. And that rumor, like, I do not. Rumor? It makes no sense.
No.
The Warriors to bring back Kevin Durant.
That financially ruined.
No sense.
Financially ruined.
That's not happening. I don't see that.
Sense. You would get worse. Yeah. You're paying $1 billion in salary cap penalties to get older.
Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't make any sense. And like I think we were saying earlier that Nikola Vucevic, I think is his name. I
Yeah.
can't remember his name. Anyways, he's probably going to be a free agent center because the Bulls have decided to, let him walk. They said that they're already going to let him walk and test out free agency. So
And they got Lonzo Ball coming back, so
yeah, but I mean, as a big man, like if the Warriors want to go out there and try and get a competitive big man, they have to get under the threshold. I mean, forget circling Vucevic or whoever you want to circle. If they're not, a second round late bloomer draft pick, then forget it. You're not going to get anyone worthwhile that's going to help this team as far as that center position goes. So, I mean, what do you?
I was going to say, you guys said it all. I don't
Yeah.
have anything to add. We should probably move on just for the sake of time.
Yeah. So,
Pin on this conversation.
Tim, go ahead and throw up the old hockey playoffs here. We're going to move to the rink.
Yeah, just a quick little update on where we are in our Stanley Cup date. There it is again. We're back. So right now, the Rangers and the Carolina Hurricanes, they are playing as we speak right now. The Rangers are up 3-1 in that series. The Rangers are up 1-0 in the it's second intermission right now, so they're about to start the third period. And so if the Rangers hold on to win, that series is done. Later today, Dallas and Colorado take.
That's been the
play.
That's
Yeah.
been the series that's been fun to watch. That's
Mhm.
what I've been watching.
Yeah, Joe Pavelski woke up a little bit there, so that was fun. Right now, Dallas is up 2-1. They have a chance to take a stranglehold on that series as well. Tomorrow, you have the Panthers and the Bruins. That one has been a nasty series.
Yeah.
A lot of
Yeah.
anger, a lot of violence there, a lot of chippiness. It's been
Well, they had that viral whiff.
yeah.
Yeah, the hit, the
The
mist,
hit that almost
The
hit.
dude
the
went for
mist
the
of
massive.
the year. Dude.
Oh yeah.
Killed the guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And then so Florida can win the series tomorrow. They're up 3-1. And then Vancouver and Edmonton, they're playing. Vancouver is up 2-1 on Edmonton. We'll see how that shakes up. They did just get somebody suspended. I can't remember who for the late hit on Connor McDavid. It was basically as the game was ending, McDavid took a cross check to the face. So that's not allowed, and so that player got suspended. So we'll see what happens there. Maybe that's the wake up Edmonton needed, because right now they're in trouble. If they don't win tomorrow, they're not officially done, but they're effectively done, because coming back from 3-1 in hockey is real tough. It is real fucking tough. It does not happen often. So
I'm not even going to touch that one with a 30-foot pole.
Yep.
I just think that the Oilers and Boston always finds a way to screw something up in their playoffs. It's unfortunate to be a fan base of that, because it happens so often to them, and I think honestly that Boston series should be 2-2 right now, and Boston's let some slip. So
absolutely,
I would argue too that the Rangers series should probably be 2-2. I mean, there's been some last minute goals. The Rangers had that overtime goal, and it just was a little lame squeaking on the side there. So
yeah, some bad angle shots gets through, and there you go. There's your game.
Yeah.
So I think it's time to move on to the next graphic. You may have figured it out from the of what this episode is called. So we basically got two graphics back to back, but let's throw the first one up there. The Sharks get the #1 overall draft pick. They win the draft lottery. This is what the Sharks put on Instagram when it happened. You got the #1 with the shark bite in the #1. I love it. It's amazing. It's perfect. And they also made a Taylor Swift reference, because what they wrote was a screaming, crying, throwing up, and that's something in the Swiftie community. That's ours. That's not yours. Go fuck yourself if you try to use it. It's not ours. All right. But no, that was so this is very exciting. I just wanted to show that. Let's go ahead and move on to the actual draft lottery results now, Tim. So this is actually the first time since 2010 where nobody moved at all. Everybody lined up exactly where they are supposed to be picking at the end of the season. No changes. Nobody moved up. The Sharks end up keeping Pittsburgh's first round pick, which is number 14. Yeah, like I said, it's the first time since 2010 where the draft order remained unchanged, and uh, it does not happen. I think that maybe happened one other time since they put the draft lottery in place. Like, it does not happen. Somebody always moves, except
Right.
this year, thankfully. I was watching it live, and when it got down to Chicago and San Jose, I was like, "Don't you fucking do this to me! Don't you
I would have been
fucking dare!"
so mad if
I
they
would,
got back-to-back first picks. I think
I would have
people would have
set.
been like, "We need to change
But
how
I
this
thought
draft
there's
works."
a rule that you can't have the number 1 overall pick twice in 5 years.
Well, no, you can't. You can win twice in 5 years. You can't win more than twice. So they couldn't win it a third time.
Oh.
So
But
that's yeah.
that didn't
So
happen. So
yeah, it didn't happen. So the Sharks are going to be picking Macklin Celebrini.
Celebrini. Yeah.
He's coming home. His dad is Rick, and Rick works for the Warriors. He's the director of strength and conditioning. So the draft is going to take place at the end of June in the Sphere in Las Vegas, and
Yeah.
SAP Center is going to have a little watch party as well. So that'll be fun if you can get out there at 3 p.m.
There's
to
already
San Jose
photos.
on a Friday.
Vince, there's already the photos coming out of Macklin Celebrini and the Junior Sharks.
Oh yeah,
From his Junior Sharks
yeah. He
days,
was a young
and
teen, yeah.
he has I want to say it was a high school amateur teammate that is also potentially going in the first round, and he could be a target for the Sharks at number 14.
Right.
So I did see some podcasts about that. So the Sharks are in a good spot with the draft, the players they already have, future draft picks. Like
this year, they're the
OKC of hockey.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they did a lot of work to get a lot of high draft picks. They have 2 second rounders. They have 2 first rounders this year. So it's going to be a lot of fun to see that. They're going to get the last pick in the second round is 42 for them. So they're going to like that number's high, and they got their own like 33 as well. So, and there's going to be some players that get picked earlier, like teams reach for certain players at certain points. So I'm looking at it as you're getting 4 top 35-ish prospects, like according to your board.
Yeah.
How you have it top. Yeah. You're looking at that's going to be amazing. That's great. That's the exact kind of infusion you've been waiting for. Why you tanked it so hard. Yeah, go ahead.
I read that this draft is loaded with like really good defensemen.
They're like the top
loaded.
Like the top 6 or 7 players are probably going to be like defensemen and like maybe 1 forward in the mix. Like that's
Celebrini's the 1 forward. Yeah. There's a lot of there'll probably be another one that sneaks in there in the top 7.
And we're going to find out. We're probably going to find out some news about Will Smith in the next week or 2.
So he's currently, I don't know if that's in the doc, and if it is, I apologize. I'm jumping ahead here, but he's currently playing for Team USA, and it's not looking good right now. He currently is sitting on the bench -1 as far as points go for individual play. I honestly think, I don't want him to go back to college, and if he wants to, because he wants to pursue some kind of scholastic thing, sure, that's fine. The reason why I don't want to go back to college is because the level of play and the speed of play compared to pro level, it doesn't have to be NHL. It could be, CHL. It could be in Europe. It is so drastically different that I think he truly needs that. And I think that him going back to Boston College, is it Boston College? Boston College. I don't think that it's going to do anything to help him to be more further along in his development. I think he needs to come and play pro. And watching him in this national, format, it's kind of making me think, okay, he's 19 years old. He's a year out, man. He really is a year out from potentially sniffing and playing with the big guys with the Sharks, so
he needs to grow into that man body.
Yeah. And
and that's the same with, Macklin Celebrini.
Exactly.
He's 17 right now.
In comparison to, Bedard, who came out last year, and that's a much bigger human being. He's just a fuller human being when he came out. you know, when you see him, and that's been the number one thing that they talk about against the two number one picks is that, you know, Celebrini is going to take 4, 5, 6 years to like truly fill out. He's still going to be a skillful player. He's you know, if he comes out to the Sharks right now and signs, like, he has the option to stay in college, you know, do whatever he wants. But if he came out right now, he's with the big team. Like he's there.
He's making the opening day roster.
Absolutely. I just think going forward, you know, having Celebrini, Will Smith, Eklund, Musty, and you got a bunch of other young guys that are knocking on the door in this draft and future draft. How does this team, like, it looks really good. It looks really promising.
On paper, it's very promising, especially in like 2 or 3 years. Like,
and Greer has done a really good job. There's really not a lot of bad contracts here, right? Like,
the bad contracts are
gone. So this year, next year, years to come, you're going to have the space to obtain talent. You're going to have the space to retain talent. You know, you're going to have that ability of adding to the roster, which is huge. They were crippled, you know, because they were always going, as you say, Vince, they were always going big game hunting every single year. They were always trying to add something, which was great. That was a hell of a ride. It was always fun. Mm-hmm. The Sharks were always in on it. And
17 of 19 years in the playoffs. That's a long time. Great. Lots of sustained success.
But the foundation broke, you know? Mm-hmm. And this is kind of a restoration period, I think, of the San Jose Sharks. And it's exciting. I'm excited. You know, this is I think a watershed moment for people I've always enjoyed the Sharks. I've always liked the Sharks, but it's like it's an onboarding point where you're really not quite sure. You know, you get on a team when they suck. You know, that's the best. You know, is when they go from worst to first, and you're like, I was here during the dog days. You know? So I'm excited, and I can't wait to see it, man. I hope Will Smith and Celebrini sign, because I just want to be greedy and see them in real life.
Yeah.
I promise you, ownership wants to see them too, because they would love to start, you know, selling some merchandise and having the players there. And
dude, the Warriors really help be there. I mean, you know, Draymond went and watched Celebrini in Chicago, and they had to get all this security in. It's like, what are you doing in Chicago?
This is going to be an excellent opportunity for marketing and everything as well.
Absolutely.
So, my only question mark going into the season is, who the hell is going to coach this team? That's my only question.
Well, they're going to interview guys is what.
At least they're interviewing now instead of waiting till the very they were
waiting the day of the draft.
Hired. When Mike Grier got hired, he was like hired with like a week and a half before the draft or something like that. So this is going to be good for him to actually hire a coach with basically the full roster open, like, of coaches. There's basically 37, 38 guys that keep getting head coaching jobs, and there's 32 spots, right? So I mean, so a lot of these guys keep shuffling in and out, and a bunch of different retreads happening. Maybe the Sharks get brave and they try somebody new. Maybe they go for a retread. I don't know. I don't know what GM Mike Grier is thinking as far as that goes, but they've already started the interview process.
I also think too, it really depends on Will Smith and Celebrini where they're going. I think that also determines who they hire as a coach. They probably have a couple names circled, but you know, maybe a veteran coach doesn't want to coach a team that doesn't have all the top players that it's supposed to have. You know,
I saw some Sharks fans throwing out a reunion with, was it Todd McClellan?
Yeah, Todd McClellan. I mean, that's definitely a name that I've heard before. He just got the short end of the stick in Los Angeles earlier this year. But he's a good coach. Obviously, he led the Sharks to the President's Trophy in 2009.
Yeah,
so that was like he's definitely capable, and he's familiar with the Sharks as an organization, and he's familiar with Mike Grier because Mike Grier was one of his players. So I mean, it could end up being that that's how a lot of these retreads keep happening, because it's like, oh, I know that guy. I'm comfortable with that guy. Let me bring him onto my squad.
But he's
that's
the
how a
guy
lot of
who's
this
won
happens.
before, you know. So I think that
Yeah.
means a lot too. Is like having a. I don't know if I would go with a rookie head coach or a young head coach with this team. I would just be nervous about a rookie head coach leading my star players, my top two
Yeah,
draft.
I'm with you. I want to
Right.
teach good habits, not bad habits.
Exactly.
Mhm.
So I agree.
I feel like year 4, year 5, you can then take the shot on the hot young hockey coach
Yeah,
when the baseline is established.
yeah.
I
agree.
hear you on that, but I mean, if you shoot young and it works, oh my god, does it work?
Yeah.
Like so
Sure.
if you try something great, like something new, and it does work out, like that's really exciting as well for the fan base. So
Yeah.
and maybe it accelerates the timeline a little bit, and that's what Macklin Celebrini is. He's a timeline accelerant for the rebuild. So
Vince is wanting what we all want. He wants a Warriors coaching situation. You know, the guy that trains them up, and then we bring the wily old coach in here that gets them over the top. That's what we want here.
we'll see.
The Steve Kerr.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're
Steve
hoping to hire Steve right now.
coaching hockey now.
Yeah. That's right.
So,
Moving on. No.
all right, brothers, we're gonna leave the ice and move on over to the grass here.
Yep.
It looks like the Quakes here.
They
They
get a win.
did it.
Yeah,
got
at
one.
Colorado. This is 2 straight wins, 3 straight point games with points. They got a draw before that, so they're up to 3 wins, 1 draw, and 8 losses. That's 10 points. With goal differential, they're still dead last, but they are tied on points with the team above them. They're tied for 13th, and then there they are. So that's cool. Their next game, they have 2 games this week: Wednesday at the Portland Timbers, and then Saturday versus Orlando City. So we'll see if they can continue the winning ways. Maybe they've hit a little bit of good luck. They also won against the Oakland Roots on Tuesday in the U.S. Open Cup. The Oakland Roots fans showed up, though. They were definitely loud, and there was a lot of stadium unity in their just how much they hate a certain piece of shit owner named John Fisher.
Yeah.
So that was nice, and there was even articles like Earthquakes fans like talking about, yeah, I get it. Yep, I'm there with them, and some of them were joining along with the chant. Some of them were like just kind of sitting back and letting the chant happen. But yeah, it was worth it.
Nobody fought it.
Yep. No, everybody's on board with that. Even the most delusional of fans.
But you ever like
can see
on
now.
social media though? On social media, the people that try to defend John Fisher, you click on
Yeah.
their accounts and it's like clearly a bot or clearly some like clearly some made up account, sock puppet account. You know, and it's like, dude, these 10 accounts are probably ran by one person. Like none of these people are real people. This is malarkey.
Yeah. Okay,
Also,
so
too,
go ahead.
The next round of the U.S. Open Cup should have San Jose playing against Sacramento, I believe. Is
I
that
believe
correct?
so. Yeah, and that's
Close
on the 21st. I think,
Correct.
right? Yeah,
Mhm.
May 21st. So, another chance to get together with your NorCal brethren and just chant how much you hate John Fisher. So that's
Although
great.
this is going to be an awkward one because I wonder how, I don't know, and maybe you know, Vince, but I wonder how Sacramento soccer fans feel about John Fisher coming to town.
Well, I know
It's
some of them are not thrilled with John Fisher. One of them being my brother. So and he is a like he does go, him and his wife and daughter, they do go to Sacramento Republic games every now and then too. So they're familiar with the team, and they'll be excited to see that game, I'm sure. But a chance like the Earthquakes don't play the Sacramento Republic like very often at all, and they're usually just scrimmages or friendlies. Occasionally they meet up in the U.S. Open Cup. This was the first time the Roots ever played the Quakes, so we'll see if that energy keeps up with the
I
game
forgot
in
to,
Sacramento, I believe.
I forgot to link an article to you guys, but the league that the Roots play in, what league is that? What is that called?
The United Soccer League, USL.
The United.
Yeah.
So, like, if you look at like attendance, I was reading this article that like the attendance and the interest in that league is more, people are more interested in that league than MLS. So,
Yeah, if you're not one of the top teams in MLS, like there's like hardly any interest at all.
right.
Yeah, definitely.
So
I think a lot of it has to do with like what the the ballers are doing is like you have like teams like the Roots, the Soul, trying to be a part of the community, right?
Yeah.
They're trying to be a part of it, win,
the
lose, or
community
draw.
outreach, man.
Exactly, and
is
what the
stellar
what
for
the
the
ballers
USL
are
teams in
doing
general.
is
Yeah.
great. And like the San Jose Earthquakes don't do a lick, like hardly anything. A's they don't give a shit anymore, but it's just they're trying to be part of the community outreach, and I think that's why these other leagues are getting so popular, is that they're doing a better job in reaching out to the community.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's amazing what happens when you actually try to like
when you
connect with fans. We'll get into another team that connects with fans in just a little bit later on, but let's just move on to Bay FC. Tim already threw up the NWSL standings up there. Right now, they lost on Saturday 1-0 at Orlando Pride. The only goal allowed was a penalty kick in the 32nd minute, and honestly, the team defense was stellar the entire game. Menges and Sharples like really put the fucking clamps on Barbara Banda, who's like a top scorer in the NWSL. She was wrapped up all night. She couldn't really she was able to make a couple moves here and there, but for the most part, she was wrapped up. There was excellent help defense covering her the entire game. Menges would be on her, and then Sharples comes from behind and slide tackles, gets the ball out. It was a very impressive defensive performance for the entire night. And both of those players, I think they had to be wheeled out of there in wheelchairs, man. They gave everything, all the energy they had to put the stops on that. So unfortunately, they did end up losing though because of that penalty goal that was surrendered, and so they've lost 5 in a row. They are playing this Friday against the San Diego Wave in San Jose. They're currently 13th in the NWSL. I was wrong because last season it was the top 6 make the playoffs. This year it's top 8. So they are still we're a third of the way through the season right now. They've played 9 games. There's 26 games in total. So a third of the way there, you're at the bottom of the table, but there's still enough time to come back and make a run. And if they can put a good performance this week against San Diego, that'll go a long way. And now the defense is actually performing well, so now maybe we can get the offense to sync up and play well at the same time the defense does.
Absolutely.
So
yeah.
This is really exciting. I'm almost certain I'm going to the game on Friday. We just gotta figure out some things to make it happen. But yeah, I'm really excited. I've already been to one game. Looking forward to going again, and it's a lot of fun too. If anybody can get out to San Jose and see a game, it's a lot of fun. There's food trucks out there for all kinds of different taste buds, and then they also have your typical stadium type food as well. You can you can throw down a glizzy and a pretzel or whatever too. So just a lot of fun, and we had a blast when we went a couple weeks ago, and we're going again.
Sweet, dude.
Yeah. So there's our soccer update. It's time to just reiterate that the Fuck John Fisher Fest Friday, June 7th. Speaking of Fuck John Fisher, the Schools Over Stadiums initiative, they lost in the Nevada court today. The measure is not going to be on the 2024 ballot. They would have had about 44 days to collect over 100,000 signatures if they had one. They will try again in 2025 or 2026 to get this on the ballot. So maybe a little bit of a blessing in disguise. You have a little bit more time. And also, if you screw up that timeline later, and take away that $380 million from John Fisher next year instead of this year, that really fucks with them even more. And you know what? I'm not mad about that. Assuming that it actually does happen.
to
that's
afford
kinda-
his multi-billion-dollar stadium that they don't want to come out and say it's going to be a multi-billion-dollar stadium because it definitely is going to be.
Yeah, it's clearing too.
Well, you got
it's a boondoggle.
David Sampson still on his podcast, still very doubtful of Las Vegas happening, just because of the funding. They have no funding. There's no plan. And this is a guy, David Sampson, he's the one that got the Marlins Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
And, he played all these dirty tricks. He played all the tricks from the dirty book.
Mm-hmm. He's airing the laundry out now.
So it's all coming out. And I don't know. I think I'm subscribing to the theory that if the A's play in Sacramento, they're probably never leaving Sacramento. So
I could see that. Now, we didn't really touch base on, we kind of did before the show, but you guys were saying that it's going to be millions upon millions of dollars to renovate the Sacramento Stadium.
I was just in Sacramento, actually.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the next image, Tim. So I was there a week. I think it was Thursday I went, and I saw the Savannah Bananas in Sacramento. So I had a chance to go to River Cats to
Sutter Health or
Sutter
whatever
Health Park now. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I got to see it without putting too much money into Vivek Ranadive. Like, obviously he still gets a little cut, whatever. But so Savannah Bananas, that was an absolute blast. I would highly recommend if you're able to get it. It's a tough ticket to get, man. But it was so much fun. The players interact with everybody, like they're up in the stands. There's a lot of fun things happening. There's a pitcher that wears stilts. There's all kinds of really good stuff. They're throwing all kinds. They're signing baseballs and throwing them all to all the kids. And the rules are a little bit different than regular baseball. And because of that, they're able to do all kinds of shenanigans. But they still play a 9-inning game. And they play it in 2 hours. They put a 2-hour clock. The game is going to be done in 2 hours, whether they get 9 innings or not. But they always get 9 innings done, man. And so they're respectful of your time as well. Like, I mean, kids can't stay out till like 10:30 at night to watch a baseball game on a Thursday.
Got to be studying.
I mean, that's right. They're like after the game, like they're out in the patio, like out in front of the stands. They're out talking and signing more balls for people. They're singing songs. They have a band, like a little marching band type thing happening. It's just a great experience that I highly recommend. That being said, the stadium itself, that's what I was also looking for.
So
the speakers, I didn't tell you guys about this yet. The speakers are total shit. Like, they have not replaced those speakers since they opened the park 25 years ago. Okay,
that's on brand for like the Coliseum.
Anytime that they played a song with a little bit of bass in it, you fucking heard the bass, man. Like, it started rattling, and not in the fun, good, like heart pumping way, more like the you need to get better speakers way. The lights are just not that great either. They need to upgrade the lights real bad, and the concourse is a little narrow too.
The lights,
I mean,
the lights is such a good thing here. So the Foul Territory podcast team, they had Mason Miller on.
Yeah.
And they asked Mason Miller, the closer for the A's, they asked him, are you going to do anything cool with your walk-up? Kind of like how the Giants do, where they turn off the lights. And Mason Miller said, we can't do that. I was told that if we turn off the lights, there's a good chance that they won't come back on.
Yeah.
And that would probably be the same thing in Sacramento too. It's a good chance they won't come back on.
Well, we mentioned this a little bit off air, is like it's being floated about $50-60 million in renovations.
It's a ton of renovations. Yeah.
At Sutter Health. So it was reported when Howard Terminal and the A's, the city of Oakland, the A's, the Howard Terminal Stadium deal fell apart. They were about $80 million apart, $90 million apart. Now the A's, John Fisher's going to go spend $60 million to improve Sutter Health for 3 years and
No.
then go drop $1 billion on Las Vegas? Like, that makes no sense. That makes financially no sense to do that.
So I wanted to, because I think it's going to end up this way, and I can't wait because I want to see how this is all going to shake out. But I'm curious what you guys think. Let's just say it's not enough to get it done, right? Now the Players Association, MLBPA, gets involved now, and they deem it is not viable for a professional baseball team to play in that stadium, and they will not play in that stadium. What happens next? Like, what's the next step? What do you do?
That's a hell of a question. They almost would be forced back to Oakland, I think.
Under what ground? Like, Oakland's gonna be like, you don't have a deal. You can't play.
The only way the A's come back to Oakland is if John Fisher has failed in Sacramento, failed in Las Vegas, and he has to sell the team. Like, he finally just waves the flag and says, "I'm out." It just seems like it's never going to be over.
But you see that happening, right? You do see it not being enough.
There's a path.
And the Players Association saying
I'm
not viable.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a path, but I feel like I don't know if John Fisher, like a current owner, has the ability to decide who he's going to sell to. I'm assuming you can sell, like, I could sell a percentage to whoever and take them on as a partner. I could see that, let's say John Fisher does sell the team. I could see him choosing to sell the team to Ronadive just to spite Oakland. Like, that's what I think is probably going to happen, is if he can't get to Vegas and he doesn't have the money to build or doesn't see the benefits in building in Sacramento, I think he could sell his majority share to Ronadive and still have a minority share and have Ronadive build the stadium, and you spited Oakland and you still own half the site. So, I mean, we've been over this. I mean, we've been doing this show for almost 2 years and in various versions of it.
Yeah.
And Vince, we've talked about this numerous times.
We were talking this pre-pandemic.
This is John Fisher's motivation is always, to me, it's always been like a hit job against Oakland. Like, he's never wanted to be here. And you could go back on my YouTube and see when we were doing the Green and Gold show, and I was extremely critical of Cavill, of John Fisher, that these people are used car salesmen. And I remember people during that time, before the Las Vegas tweet, remember Cavill tweeted the Las Vegas thing, and that's when he burnt the bridges with everybody. Things were getting a little shaky, but that's when he burnt the bridge. That's when he took the matches and burned it. Before then, I remember being at FanFest. I remember being at stadiums, and I would talk shit about Dave Cavill, and people would defend him and say, "Oh, yeah, he's trying." And I'm like, I don't know, man. Him trolling the Giants out in the Bay, it just seems shady and immature, dude. Like, do you think the guy trolling the Giants in the Bay is really getting a stadium done in Oakland? Just doesn't seem. It's not adding up. As my boss says, 2 + 2 ain't equaling 4, homie. It ain't mathing.
Yeah, the math ain't mathing. Yeah,
it ain't working. So I do believe that if Fisher has to sell the team, it's going to be to somebody that has no affiliations or connections to Oakland. Because if he sold the team to Lacob, he's doing Oakland a solid, and he's not going to do Oakland a solid. So I think I'm kind of where Vince was at maybe last year or so, in the sense of they're gone, man. Like, they're gone. Like, there's no way in hell that the A's are going to be in Oakland. He will sell them to an owner that will put them in fucking Wyoming. You know, he will sell the team at a loss before he sells them to a person that will put them in Oakland. The only way the city of Oakland will ever get a Major League Baseball team here is if the A's are gone and an owner buys the current footprint and says, I'm building a stadium,
Yeah.
100% on my dime, and pays the expansion team fees.
Which I think is what, 2 billion now or 3 billion now or something.
It's going to be about
Right.
2, I think.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to really be the only shot that the A's have, and I think that's going to come with its own problems because you got cities like Salt Lake, that have money, that already passed bills to give these teams money, to give the leagues money. You got Nashville, you got Portland, you got a lot of cities that are willing to give up money. I think the dream scenario would be what the city of Oakland was trying to do, which was put the A's in, fine, John Fisher, take the A's, get them a new name, but allow us to get an expansion team.
Yeah.
And keep them as the A's. But I just don't see Major League Baseball coming back to Oakland ever.
Yeah, I think I said it a few weeks ago. The next time, if Major League Baseball is back in Oakland, it's going to be when the league expands to at least 36 teams. Like, it's not happening when they go from 30 to 32. It's for it to happen, it would have to be when they go from 32 to 36. And they do
and
4
that's
cities at once. And we're talking
your dogs are going wild over there.
We're
boy.
talking 25 years from now. Like that's
they heard John Fisher, man. They heard John Fisher.
Yeah,
going ape shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
I agree with you, Vince. I yeah. I mean,
I think that's the
more than that,
Yeah.
It may take somebody buying an already MLB team then moving it. You know what I mean? Like it would be a new team.
I would hate to get a team like that too.
Me too.
I don't want to steal somebody else's team.
I agree with you, but I think MLB has this vendetta against Oakland at this point. You know,
right.
It's weird. It's so weird. I have never seen a city hated on so much.
Yeah.
Like, name a city that people hate who've never even been to it, and all they say is all the worst things about a major city. I've been to San Francisco. There are neighborhoods in San Francisco that are 10 times worse than what's going on in Oakland. And I grew up here, and I'm not defending the nonsense that happens in Oakland, but I've been to New York. I saw the nonsense there. I've been to Chicago. I saw nonsense there. Like, I've been to these major cities, man. I've seen the nonsense. I've seen the same bullshit. But the hatred that the nation has, that sports fans have for Oakland, or however you want to phrase it, is weird.
Yeah.
It's weird. And I think at the end of the day, I was talking to somebody about this at our local watering hole, Tyler, about there's this, for Las Vegas to be valuable and have the A's, they have to be more valuable, and Oakland has to be less value. And this devaluing of other people and other communities, I find is really strange and really weird, that there is a path that both cities can get what they want. Everybody is excited. I think we all agree that sports deserves to be in Las Vegas. The Las Vegas fan deserves to have a team that they can celebrate. But nobody is really excited for the A's.
Yeah.
They're excited for baseball to be there, but they're not excited for the A's.
I feel like I said this pre-pandemic on our Green and Gold show, man. I said, like, they want this guy, this owner? No, they don't. And look at this. Who was fucking right? Who's the Oracle yet again? It's your boy Vinny G. It's Sam, and it's Tyler. We've been saying this for a long time, man.
Dude. Years.
Fucking years.
You know
what? We need to. I think we need to just we'll come back to this. Obviously,
we'll move to an interesting previous Green and Gold player.
Yeah, real quick. This is fun.
Chris Davis announced his retirement. I think I saw it today, so I'm going to assume it was today. He yesterday, but anyways, I digress. I see this announcement that he retires. I'm like, oh man, I knew he signed a minor league deal, couldn't get onto a roster. Probably because he's pursuing his new passion. So Chris Davis, apparently in Arizona, attended a automotive technician school to become a mechanic and that is going to be his new passion that he's going to pursue in maybe Arizona, wherever he may want to land up. But as I read the article, it was just getting more and more like, this is so on brand for Chris Davis. I mean, Chris Davis is just kind of an odd fella himself. But he said that when he attended, every kid was like 19, 20. Chris Davis is like 34. So he's obviously older than everyone. He said he didn't even know how to change a tire when he attended this school. But it's his passion. So I'm like, I feel like there's something off with this whole passion thing and like, I'm just got a lot of money and I'm bored kind of thing.
Yeah.
But you know what? Oil changes now in Arizona, if Chris Davis is your technician, have gone up from $70 to $250 because it's Chris Davis.
I feel like
Yeah,
there's a much faster route for him to be in the auto industry. Like
Yeah.
he could literally like start a dealership, like Crush Davis's dealership. where
Yeah,
we
be
crush
such-
the used
competition.
car sales.
Yeah.
You know,
Russian
like-
prices,
like yeah, I feel like there's
It's
like
fun.
if or even like custom cars. Go hire a couple of mechanics,
Yeah.
paint body, body shop, like a technician. I don't know. I mean, they make good money. You get to the right shop, you can make good money, but I don't know. It seems like starting out as a technician's a young man's game.
Well,
but
it's also
what do
odd
I
to me
know?
that he wants to be a technician and not be a shop owner. And I feel like that would be the right direction, but I don't know. To each their own, I guess. Chris Davis, love you. Couldn't throw the ball worth a shit, but he could crush it really far. So
All right.
All right, Vince.
he's gonna forget how to change
All
a tire because he's got the yips.
All right, it is yeah. It's meme of the week time. There's a couple of football ones that I submitted. Did you send any in?
I didn't, man.
That's okay, so we'll
I'm
just-
sorry.
No worries. We'll just do the two that I have. So the first one is around Caleb Williams, and basically, what's happening here is it's just a picture of Caleb Williams at the draft. It's just saying everything that Caleb needs to do to be the best rookie quarterback in Bears history. Here's how low the bar is. He needs 0.65 touchdowns per game, which is probably about 10 or 12, I think, touchdowns for the season. 130 passing yards per game, 65.8% completion percentage. He needs to start 15 games, and he needs an 82.1 passer rating. If he does all those, then he's the best rookie quarterback in Bears history. The bar is in hell, so he should be able to clear all those.
I like how
If he
the
really
meme
is-
says that's a low bar for a team that's been around since before the Great Depression.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Caleb Williams, I mean, he's nothing but full of confidence. I don't know if you guys saw this, but I think it was like the late of the first round, or maybe the second round, beginning of the second round, but the Bears drafted a kicker, right? Caleb Williams texted the kicker and told him, "Oh man, congratulations! Too bad you won't be kicking a lot of field goals around here because he's throwing the ball so much."
Right. Listen, I like the Bears have had shit quarterback play for their entirety of their franchise's existence.
Centuries.
I mean, so yeah, we're on to the second century of shit quarterback play from the Bears. So I'm not gonna begrudge them if they finally get one guy that actually does play well. I mean, they got to the Super Bowl with Rex fucking Grossman in
I was just gonna say
2006,
that.
man.
Yeah, I was just gonna say yeah.
They have a history of shit quarterback play and excellent defensive play when they've had winning teams. Might be interesting to see what happens if the defense is kind of mid and the offense is good. That's kind of what they're trying to do here.
Yeah.
Never been done in Chicago before. We'll see if it works.
But
I don't know.
I mean, it's been multiple ownership groups, multiple general managers, coaches.
Mhm.
Like
It's
can't
something in the
figure it
water in
out.
Chicago at this point. I don't know, man.
I think it's
Uh,
the wind, dude.
Yeah, it's got to
I
be
don't
the
know.
wind. That's
Yeah.
probably why they want a roof on the new stadium that
That's
they're definitely
what I'm
not going to get
thinking.
built.
That's what
All
I'm
right,
thinking.
so and our second one, this is another rookie, Malik Neighbors, off his 10K rookie bet of the year, rookie of the year bet with former LSU teammate Jaden Daniels, and this is what one practice with Daniel Jones does to a man. He ain't trying to lose that 10K.
Yeah.
Oh, Okay, so there's our memes of the week, and I'm just seeing what the sports world has for us going forward for this coming week.
Damn.
Maybe you get out to a soccer game, maybe you see some playoff basketball or playoff hockey, and just join us in the chat next week. It'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, man.
Papa G says, "Bear's gonna bear."
That is very, very, very true.
It's
Hey,
kind of a miracle. It's kind of a miracle how long. Like, I'm assuming they do not have a Hall of Fame quarterback. Like who? Like I can't think of like a Hall of Fame quarterback.
Maybe in the dead ball era. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm afraid to Google it because I don't want to ruin my algorithm. It'll come back think I'm a terrorist or something if I try to Google that.
That's so funny, man. Well, guys, I'm going to send us off here. We're going to go ride it into the sunset with our Sweet Sharks hat, our number one pick here. You guys are listening to the SVT podcast. Subscribe on YouTube and hit the bell to get alerts when we go live. Follow us on Instagram and Threads at SVT Sports Pod. Slide into our DMs. We would love to interact with all of you beautiful people.
Bobby Douglas, my dad says.
I'm looking it up.
I don't know who the fuck that is. Somebody look him up. Good night, guys.
Night.
Later.